America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, he did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. Good. Damn good. The Nobel Peace Prize went to Maria Corina Machado, the opposition leader down in Venezuela, the opposition leader to the authoritarian, the dictator, the fascist, Maduro, down in Venezuela. Maria Corina Machado got the Nobel Peace Prize, and Donald Trump didn't. So, right, do I have this right this Friday? The Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize that Trump had been begging for days, weeks, months, and years, the Nobel Peace Prize, follow me here, went to someone who's fighting authoritarianism and didn't go to an actual authoritarian. That makes sense to me, right? Isn't that what the Nobel Peace Prize should be all about? Just hilarious this morning, and I hope you've all had a good week. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. So many stories this week, but I've got to lead with this because Donald Trump just has not been able to stop talking about this. He wants the Nobel Peace Prize. He demands the Nobel Peace Prize. He's been stomping his feet for months. I've ended 7 wars, Trump screamed. I've ended 37 wars. I've ended 97 wars. I deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. And the temporary ceasefire that went into effect in Gaza, it's not a peace plan, a temporary ceasefire. Trump and his people, his enablers, have been holding that up the past couple of days. Oh, now you have to give the Nobel Peace Prize to Donald Trump. He's brought peace to the Middle East. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu, it's been, I'm tired. It's been pathetic. It's been shameless. You've had Netanyahu, you've had world leaders saying, oh, Donald deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. You've had all of his lackeys here in this country, his media cheerleaders, people in his administration. It's so unseemly. Right? At one level, the Nobel should never be given to anyone who begs for it. Amen? Can we all agree to that? If you beg for the Nobel Peace Prize, if you repeatedly beg for it, you shouldn't get it, right? Like I know, and I've said, and you know, and hell, Obama knows. Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize and he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything, right? And even Obama said, I didn't do anything to deserve this. He got the Nobel Peace Prize like a month after he was first elected president. And even Obama was embarrassed about it, but Obama never begged for it. I don't know that anyone in human history has ever begged for the Nobel Peace Prize, except for Donald Trump. Now, at one level, think about that. Think about what that says about Trump. What a pathetic, insecure, sad little man. He's the only one in human history who's publicly begged for the prize. How unseemly. But how Trump, how pathetic and how insecure and how psychopathic. Can we be more serious? How psychopathic. Donald Trump is a psychopath, which means he's only, it's almost not his fault. He's capable only of thinking about and caring about himself. That's his disease. So you and me and the man behind the tree, man, if we think we deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, we're never going to say it. We're never going to go on a public campaign demanding it. We're never going to beg for it day after day, because that's not right, because we're not psychopaths. We're not narcissists. We have shame. See, part of being a psychopath is you are incapable of shame. He's incapable of shame. So he's been out there every day for weeks and months begging for the Nobel. It started out in February or March. He's ended 3 wars. Then it was 4 wars, then 6 wars, then 7 wars. I think he's up to 7 wars. I will remind everybody that what is happening in Gaza is not a peace agreement. It's a temporary ceasefire. And you know where I stand on this, and this has nothing to do with Trump. If Biden were president, Obama, Bush, doesn't matter to me. I am pro-Israel. I am off the charts pro-Israel. All I care about is the safety and the security of the state of Israel. And I would like peace in that region, right? This is not a peace agreement. This is a temporary ceasefire. It's a good thing that the hostages are coming home. I suppose generally ceasefires are good things. But if you want peace in the region, peace in the Middle East is only going to come when the Palestinians and the Islamists acknowledge that Israel has a right to exist. That's the only way you're ever going to get peace in the Middle East. Unless that happens, this is no peace agreement. This is just a temporary pause in the hostilities. So Donald Trump deserves nothing for this temporary ceasefire, but that's beside the point. The president of the United States, because he's a psychopath, because he can only think of himself, he's been out there begging for the Nobel Peace Prize. He's had his enablers out there begging that Trump be given the Nobel Peace Prize. You beg for it, or rather you publicly campaign for it, you don't fucking deserve it. You shouldn't get it. But then on top of that, the beauty and the symmetry and the irony and the pointed message that was conveyed this morning by Nobel, by who they gave the Peace Prize to, the woman who's the opposition leader down in Venezuela, who's been living in hiding, who's been forced to live in hiding, whose life is in danger every minute of every day. She gets threats every day. She should have left the country, but she's chosen to remain in the country of Venezuela as the opposition leader to inspire an opposition movement to oppose Maduro, the dictator, the thug, the authoritarian, and the fascist. She got the Nobel Peace Prize. And I love this line that the committee delivered when they gave Maria Corina Machado the Nobel. They said, when authoritarians seize power, it is crucial to recognize courageous defenders of freedom who rise and resist. I want to read that again. This is why she got the Nobel Peace Prize. Think of her. think of Venezuela, think of what this brave opposition leader is doing down there, and think of Trump, the Nobel Committee. When authoritarians seize power, it is crucial to recognize courageous defenders of freedom who rise and resist, like Maria Corina Machado, a defender of freedom. The Nobel Peace Prize Committee went on and talked about how democracy around the world, everywhere in the world, even here, they said, is faltering. Authoritarianism is on the rise, the committee rightly said, everywhere in the world, even here. Spot on. So stark. Like people campaigning for Trump. You've got, on one hand, you've got a brave woman who's resisting authoritarianism. On the other hand, you have a fucking authoritarian in Donald Trump. You have a brave woman who lives in hiding, remains in her country to inspire her countrymen and women, who's standing up against fascism in her country. You have that choice, Nobel, or you have an actual fascist, someone who's brought fascism to the world's oldest democracy, Donald Trump. That's an easy choice. Do I give the Nobel to a woman resisting and fighting fascism, or do I give the Nobel to the guy who brought fascism to the world's oldest democracy, to an actual fascist? No, that's easy. That's easy. And Trump and his supporters are bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining all morning this morning. By the way, they knew, Trump and his people knew, this decision was made weeks ago. And so when Trump and his people went on a concerted effort in this last week, after the ceasefire was agreed to, saying, oh, that does it now. Here's the 97th war that Trump has ended. Now Trump demands the Nobel. They went on this campaign this week knowing full well the decision had already been made. Donald Trump didn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. He's a fascist. When has a fascist ever gotten the Nobel Peace Prize? I don't think it's ever happened. Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth. He's putting the military on our streets. He's trying to create a police state in this country. He's called for his political opponents to be jailed. He's told his generals to be ready for a war against Americans in America. He's firing on fish boats down where? Outside, is it Venezuela or Colombia? Fishing boats, killing innocent people. He stands with Putin, the dictator, thug, authoritarian who invaded Ukraine. Trump doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. He's not a man of peace. I kind of reaffirmed my hope in humanity. And look, I get that the Nobel, the whole thing is political, right? I mean, you give Barack Obama the Nobel Peace Prize like a week after he was sworn in as president. This thing's political. I get that. I've always said that. Trump doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. He's an authoritarian. He's a dictator wannabe. He's a fascist. He's lawless. He's corrupt. And he's trying to incite a war against American citizens on our streets. You can't give a man like that the Nobel Peace Prize. His supporters won't believe or care about any of this. And by the way, one more word again on the ceasefire in Gaza has begun to go into effect. That was the only thing agreed to, was an initial ceasefire. The other 18, 19 points in Trump's 20-point plan haven't even been negotiated yet. We're a long, 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 long way from peace in the Middle East. And again, peace in the Middle East will have nothing to do with Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Peace in that part of the world is only going to come when one side acknowledges that Israel has a right to exist. It's been that way ever since 1948, ever since the United Nations carved something up and said, 2 states, Israel, you get a little slice, Palestinians, you get a little slice, you each get your own state, away we go. And from the moment that was done in 1948, the Palestinian side has gone to and initiated wars for 70 some years because they don't believe Israel has a right to exist. They don't. The Palestinians don't. Certainly, Islamist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah don't. Iran doesn't. The Palestinian Authority doesn't. As long as you've got that, right? We've talked about it endlessly. As long as you've got 2 neighbors living side by side and one of those neighbors said that other neighbor doesn't have a right to exist, you're never going to have peace. There's no such thing as a 2-state solution. And respectfully, if you say, and I get it because you can't stand Netanyahu, but if you say Israel doesn't believe that the Palestinian people, that a Palestinian state has a right to exist, you're just not accurate. Israel has advocated for and been open to since 1948, from the very beginning, 2 states. 2 states. I'll remind everybody, Gaza, on everybody's mind. Israel left Gaza in 2005. And the Palestinian people and Hamas decided to turn Gaza into a terrorist compound. There's no moral equivalence here, no matter what you think of Netanyahu. For 77 years, one side has been open to the 2-state solution, and one side has not been. And that's just the truth. And I love to listen to former President Bill Clinton. He says repeatedly, and you can Google this, he gave Arafat and the Palestinians, the Oslo Accords, 97% of what they wanted for a 2-state solution. And they turned Bill Clinton down because they fundamentally do not believe Israel has a right to exist. Their problem is Israel. Their problem is the state of Israel. Until they get over that, and they have to get over that because Israel ain't going anywhere. But unless they get over that, never, ever, 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 ever peace in that region of the world. I hope you've had a good week. It's been a tough week. I want to remind everybody this week, as this week ends, and I said this before, do not ever lose your capacity to be shocked by what Donald Trump says and does. Please don't lose that capacity to be shocked and outraged by what Trump says and does. If you and I lose our capacity to be shocked and outraged by what Trump says and does, he wins. I.e., if we normalize Trump, when he does and says his lawless, corrupt, cruel, dangerous, dishonest, ugly things, un-American things, traitorous things, and we just roll our eyes and shrug our shoulders and say, oh, that's just Trump, because we're so damn used to it, because he does 1,000 of these a day. He wins. We've normalized him. We can't do that. I realized that again this week when Donald Trump came out again this week and publicly demanded that the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois be put in jail. The president of the United States demanded that the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois be imprisoned. That is fascism. And when I heard him say that, when he posted that, I initially was not shocked. And then I went on TV and I caught myself. Shame on me. Get with it, Walsh. You should be shocked. Nobody else would do this. No other American president would say that. Demand that their political opponents be, elected officials be imprisoned. And so I caught myself midstream and I regained how shocked and outraged I was at what Trump said. Don't lose that. Trump wants you to lose your capacity to be outraged and shocked by what he says and does. It's part of his strategy is to throw 1,000 pieces of dog shit at you every single day. So you just become numb and you stop paying attention to all the dog shit he's throwing at you. Don't. Stay outraged. Stay shocked by all that dog shit he throws at us every day. That's how we win. Thanks for listening. Two quick notes. Now I apologize. My show this week's kind of been all over the map because I've been traveling this week. Subscribe to my Substack. Again, you've heard me say this. I'm asked a bunch, Joe, I like your voice. How can I best support your voice? The best way you can support my voice is to become a paid subscriber to my Substack. The best way you can, thanks, Keith. The best way you can support my voice is to help sponsor and underwrite my Substack, help keep my voice out there. But become a paid subscriber, socialcontractwithjoewalsh.substack.com. That's the easiest and most direct way to support what I do and say every day. If you are interested in something bigger, sponsoring or advertising on the show or helping to underwrite the show and my Substack and everything, man, oh man, by all means, we're looking for folks like that. Shoot me an email. The social contract with joewalsh@gmail.com. Shoot me an email if you know of anyone who's got some financial means who'd like to help underwrite keeping my voice out here, a potential sponsor, a potential advertiser, whatever, to help keep my show, my daily show, and my daily bombardment of everything I do on Substack out there, shoot me an email. Would love to talk to you or whoever you know. The social contract with joewalsh@gmail.com. Chill this weekend. Relax a little this weekend. No Kings, by the way, October 18th, a week from tomorrow. We're all out protesting somewhere in the country. October 18th is No Kings Day. You better be out there. Go to indivisible.org. Find out where near you, but you better be protesting. No Kings in America on October 18th. Rest up this weekend. Thanks, everybody. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.